Yes, we're winging it once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Game and Chair podcast. On this week's edition, we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to give my first impressions of the game. Our guy here, Sean the Black Dawn. He's basically going to go into the latest news in regards to like PlayStation consoles, like state of the play news. Also, we're going to discuss the new Uncharted trailer, as well as offer our thoughts on Dune. More on this and more on this week's edition of the Game and Chair. Hey, welcome to episode 10 of the Game and Chair podcast. I go by the name of Ladale the Fashionista. And as you can see here, it's written on the screen. We got our guy Sean the Black Dawn, aka
Yeah.
Saint Pharaoh. Tell him what's going on, bro.
What's up, guys? We're currently missing our third party member. The three amigos aren't together right now. As
Yeah,
this engine, what is he,
yeah,
Tennessee?
yeah, man. I got Isaiah. Shout to Isaiah. He's still part of the Game and Chair podcast, but he's handling some business out there in good old Tennessee. Try not to be too toxic, my brother. but Isaiah's gonna be gone for like about the next 2 months, but he'll definitely be back in the first quarter of 2022. We're excited to have him back, and we know when he come back, he's gonna continue to bring, the balance that we need to the game of chicken. Like I said, I wings it. Sean, he's our wisdom guy here. He always gives the words. Like y'all don't know too much about that, but he
Find that out on maybe one of our other, talk shows that might come
yeah,
up.
a possible spin onto the game of chair. Where Sean is basically gonna highlight all of his strengths. Sean he keeps us out of trouble. Well, he tries to keep us out of trouble. Let's just put it like that. But enough on that. We know why you guys are here. You guys are here for the gaming news. There's been actually a lot that's been happening in gaming. But before we get into that, let's talk about the games that we've been playing this week. So, Sean, like, have you touched the controller this week, bro?
So let's see. I haven't touched it as much this week, but I remember last time we spoke, we announced that Sora was coming to the Switch for the new DLC for Super Smash. So I did get a
Yeah,
chance
I
to
remember
actually
that.
play with him a little bit, and like his combat does really play a lot like how he plays in the actual first game. So kind of easy for me to I guess get used to a little bit, like kind of no, wouldn't say like hackish or like like one of those people that you could kind of get him and like kind of spam people and like automatically win. But if you learn how to control him, I'm pretty sure he'd be a good like player to use. So I'm gonna kind of get used to him. But other than
Nice.
that, I've been like kind of going through the Batman Telltale series, which is basically like the kind of choose your adventure kind of story where basically you just choose what Batman does and everything, watch how the story play out. And every so often, I go back to Spider-Man Miles Morales because I have not finished that yet, even though it's apparently a very shorter game than the actual Spider-Man was. So maybe I'll complete that between now and the next time we end up talking to y'all.
Yeah, and that'll be next Thursday, guys, because as just in case you forgot, the format for our show is as follows. Every first Thursday of the month and every last Thursday of the month, you'll get us, the Roundtable Podcast. The weeks in between, you'll get me basically being scared to play hard games and try to see if I can make it at least 20 minutes before shutting it off. So you called last week Screaming Back with Blood, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
If you do not know what he is talking about, please go check that out. As you will see, about 20 minutes of Ladale standing at the front door.
Yeah. Basically shooting at my own teammates because I don't know what's going on. It's definitely worth watching for the comedy alone, man. Like basically, like I don't try to hide nothing on this show. Like basically, I've made it known that I'm mostly a sports gamer and a fighting gamer. So basically, like RPGs and horror games are not really up to my speed. But I'm trying to push myself outside my comfort zone. I'm basically trying to, give you guys the best content possible. Even if it means me making a fool out of myself at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, like as long as bringing entertainment to you guys, that's all that matters. Because that's all that we're about here on the Tuck Podcast Network. But Sean, you basically said something about the Batman game. He says like part of the Telltale series, right?
Hmm.
The game that we're gonna be talking about today kind of reminds me of the Telltale series, and that is the latest release of Guardians of the Galaxy, which came out this past Tuesday, October 26th. I just recently bought it today. And I spent about, I'll say a good 30 minutes with it. I know you guys might be saying, well, like Ladale, 30 minutes, that's not enough time to give like a good impression of the game. Okay, but you see, you want that, you could go to IGN, you could go to GameSbox. I said GamesBox, GameSpot,
Games box.
or Gamer Ranks. All right. Us over here, we're kind of like, not to box ourselves in a little bit, we're kind of like, like the the BET when it comes down to gaming and some shit, basically. Like, so basically, we're gonna give you.
The
We're not
more
gonna give you.
we're the more realistic team, that's why every time you come and ask us, what games have we played this week? We're like nothing.
Yeah,
Because let's be honest, we don't always get to touch a game.
exactly. Like we're too busy. And you see, basically, what we just went to Sean. Like we skipped me because I already know my answer. So basically, I got 30 minutes of gameplay this week, and that was all on basically Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I did not get very far in the game, but I hope to basically beat the game alongside you guys, our viewers, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, because I think we can also start streaming a little bit on YouTube. Like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, might as well like let our YouTube family get on the action. But most of our screens will be on Twitch. But in regards to Guardians of the Galaxy, first off, I must say, beautiful game. Beautiful game. It takes full advantage of the next gen hardware, at least from my perspective, playing on Xbox Series X.
Mhm.
It's also available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One for you guys that don't have a next gen system. By the way, it's not your fault if you don't, because these fucking scalpers, they always scalping the system that's selling it at twice its value. Shame on you guys, but I respect the hustle. Beat
Even
me
though
at.
somehow Sony says that they sold a lot more, I think over this summer. I didn't get one, but
Yeah, yeah. Fuck, man. Sidebar, my dread really bothered. I really need to get this shit touched up. I should have been saying that on here. But it's really bothering me right now. Like fuck. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, back on track. Here you got some of my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy. The reason why I said that's kind of like a Telltale game is due to the fact that there's so much dialogue in the game. I mean, even like the first 30 minutes of the game, like first of all, you start off reminiscing of like a young Peter Quill. He's in his
Mhm.
room. Miles come in. They talk about 80s rock music and all that. But they have like literally like a 3 minute conversation that you cannot skip. And then right after that, you basically get woken up by Drax, and then you have a conversation with Drax. Then you interact with Rocket and Groot, and then you meet up with Gamora. The next thing you know, you're off to some planet, and basically like yes, like make decisions with your team that kind of like has an influence regards like the outcome of how the story will play out. But according to like some the popular YouTube sites out there, it's not really so much. And like the choice that you made doesn't have that much impact on the story because you might end up going down that same route anyway. It just might be much later than what normally could have been had you just made the decision that could have led to that possible outcome earlier
Mhm.
in the game. But overall, like I said, it's a beautiful game. It's very slow pace at the beginning because I haven't get to like the first boss battle yet. Yes, I'm still on chapter one. Still in chapter one. But that's because like I keep hearing about there's like a monster coming up. I'm kind of like trying to avoid that. Like I'm not trying to get my blood pressure up. Not tonight. Not tonight. Like Bitcoin is doing that enough to me as it is. Like I do not need this game to get my blood pressure up. So basically like, I was kind of like stalling around and shit. Like there's a big ass sentinel head from Marvel's Avengers that's flowing the space in the game, which I kind of like that because Square Enix is, for those that don't know, Square Enix is the publisher for this game. Square Enix was also the publisher for Marvel's Avengers, which is a game that got a very bad rap, but I knew it was gonna get a bad rap. The moment the game trailer came out, like, all right, like people ain't gonna like this shit. But I love the connection basically between like the last boss battle of the game between like Kamala Khan and the Sentinel that's basically controlled by Modok. Like his head is floating into space, and basically you're going into a planet where basically like his head is located. It's kind of like a great callback towards the Marvel's Avengers game. So I
Okay,
enjoyed
so
that.
basically they're in like the same universe then. So it would be like,
Yeah,
I would like Guardians of the Galaxy would technically not be a sequel, but would be like a continuation of the main storyline that happened from Marvel's.
yeah. Kind of, at least from my perspective, from the early playthrough, like it might
Okay.
not necessarily be that, but I just love the connection between like seeing like the Kree Sentinel head that's basically in the Kree Sentinel that's in the Marvel's Avengers game is also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And it seems like to be like an improvement upon the Avengers because I played the Avengers. Like I told you guys, like the game was trash. It's either I kind of have like a new difference of opinion on the series now that I'm playing on the Series X rather than the PS4. But that's only due to like the upgrades of frame rates. Like
Mhm.
now it's at 30, 60 frames per second. But overall, like the main story is still trash. I look forward to playing the Black Panther part. I ain't get to play that part yet, but I look forward to playing that part. So I just want to beat the main mission first, before getting into that. But getting back to Marvel's Avengers, it's slow pace, but also at the same time, like every, I love the attention to detail that went into the game. Like basically, you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Basically, the game is kind of like an extension upon that. Now, granted, the characters more so look like a mixture like the comic book cells and the
Mhm.
MCU and what we see in the MCU, and not as cartoony as it was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. But that would also bring me to my next point. That I feel like the game is also quite similar to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, although you only get to play as one player in this game. And this game, you only get to play as Peter Quill. You do not get to control Gamora. You do not get to control Groot. You do not get to control Drax or Rocket Raccoon. But you do get to level them up. You get to tell them like, hey, like for instance, if you're stuck in a mission in a part of a mission where like you cannot cross over a bridge because when you first start off on the game, you're in a planet where basically like it's nothing but like rubble everywhere. Like everything is coming apart. So basically, you could call because Groot, like like he's like a tree. So basically, he has a power. Where basically, like he can like turn his body to like make branches out of the roots of his body,
Okay.
and you can tell like, hey, Groot, like make a bridge, and then basically like he'll do it. Then you can just walk or on his arms to get to like the next part of the map. So it's cool in that regard, in the sense that okay, like you could like tell your teammates what to do, and then come later on the point like you can get like pep talks before going to battles, and then you can see like how they react. So like sometimes they might react favorably, other times they might not. So I enjoy that part of it. And it's also said, okay, that's also kind of similar to like Uncharted in the sense that it's very cinematic. Games like The Last of Us and Uncharted are like cinematic experiences. Like there's a lot of long cutscenes, and that's what you're gonna get plenty of in this game. But overall, like I said, I didn't really get to play that much into it, but I'm enjoying like the dialogue that the characters are having with each other. It's kind of like James Gunn wrote the game in a sense, because the
Mhm.
comedy and all is like basically the guard that you see in the movie is kind of like what you can see in the game, you know.
Okay.
And also the fact that I love the soundtrack as well. It got so much 80s music and all, like it's playing all throughout the game. Like it's pretty dope. Like sometimes I'll just sit back and just listen to the music while playing the game.
Okay. So it's keeping in theme with the spirit of what Guardians of the Galaxy was on the big screen anyway.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah. But it's a dope game, man. We're definitely gonna stream it on our Twitch channel for you guys. That way you guys can see more of it. Obviously, even though if you follow sites like IGI and GameSpot, like you've already seen the gameplay walkthroughs, but you're gonna see a ghetto version. of because I ain't gonna play it like them. So, there you go.
Again, we keep it real over here at Tug Mag. So you're playing with actual people who play the game, not for like the entertainment value, but for you to see what it's like to actually play the game.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not calling myself ghetto or like I'll just say like the way the game's gonna be played, like oh my god, like you can tell like this is got not a professional game. That's basically how it's gonna be. Like I'm gonna get stuck on certain maps. I'm gonna die like 10 times. Like I'm gonna fuck up on my aim and I'm gonna see a monster. I'm gonna jump. Like that's just shit that's gonna happen.
You
You
know,
know?
real shit.
Yeah, that's it. And and also there's some others. I know that there's some games that's coming out very soon. So Sean, you have any thoughts like what games is coming out? Like any news in that regard?
Let's see. So games that I know are coming out. If we're talking like more recently, I remember you brought up that I think the new Call of Duty should be coming out sometime
Yeah,
next week?
yeah. Next on November 6th.
Okay, so the new Call of Duty should be coming out sometime next week. So that's interesting. I definitely watched the trailer. I think like a few episodes back for what it's supposed to look like, and the graphics and everything look amazing. So I'm actually looking forward for that. I haven't been into Call of Duty in a while, but I'm also trying to get back into gaming the way that I used to game back when I was like younger and everything. So it would definitely be the point for me to start working on stuff like that too, especially until I finally get a PS5. But looking forward into the Call of Duty franchise, the new edition of the Call of Duty franchise. I've never maybe I'll actually play the campaign this time around. I never usually play the campaign. Whenever I get a Call of Duty game, I'm usually the person who gets it because my friend told me to get it. And obviously we're gonna play multiplayer and I suck at multiplayer. I get good sometimes the more I get on it, but like initially I hate shooters. I suck at
I answer like honestly like you guys like we've played like we scream like Call of Duty Warzone and y'all see I always die first like I'm not good at the game so basically like the reason why I'm gonna get this particular game because one it looks gorgeous, two it has a campaign mode. The upcoming Battlefield does not have a campaign mode. And I know I suck at playing shooters online, so obviously I'm gonna go with the game with the campaign mode. Cause at least with campaign mode, I could just put that bitch on easy if I want to, and then like I could just progress through the story, and get the story experience. So I'm gonna go with Vanguard. Also, although this game is not coming out next week, it's definitely something that's on the horizon. That's the Grand Theft Auto the trilogy, like the
yes.
remaster. So that's coming out. Did you get a chance to check out like the trailer for it? Like see like any screenshots comparing like the PS2 era
I
to
didn't get the chance to look into it. I've been hearing the news and I meant to look into like the trilogy, but I heard the trilogy has what number three,
Vice
Vice
City
City and
and
San
San
Andreas,
Andreas. Yeah,
which is apparently the big three of the GTA universe so far that everybody goes back to,
yeah,
especially San Andreas.
yeah.
So obviously that this gives me the chance to actually because I started my trip into the GTA universe, if I remember correctly. My memories start from me simply watching my aunt play it when I was like younger. I remember usually I go into like the room, she'd be playing the game, I'd be listening to like the soundtrack in the background, just watching her
Oh, the
drive around the
soundtrack
city and all the
is
stuff like that. Mhm. And then my first actual GTA game happened to be, I'm not gonna lie, I want to say I forgot what number are we on now? 5?
yeah. We're on 5. We've been on 5 for like almost
For the
3
last
years
10
now.
years.
That game was on a PS3, the 360, PS4, Xbox One, now
And
PS5 and Series X. Like,
because GTA Online is its own entity, and I don't know why. But
yeah, they're milking that shit.
but basically, I want to say maybe GTA 4 was my like step into the universe, and not even fully. Like I want to say, I started the game, it was like, oh, this seems fun, and then I immediately ended up going the route of the Saints Row universe simply because it was. Like I said, I'm a sucker for character customization, so it made me feel like I was the main character in this thing. And all of the chaos and the wackiness, the cartooniness. I'm a child at heart, so I immediately fell into that. But then I actually got into GTA 5 and I went through like a few of the stories, if not watching my friends play on my system, which is a habit that also comes up in my life a lot. But yeah, like a lot of my friends will play my games and just like I'll watch them complete it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to play it eventually after I watch them through it. But I actually got through like GTA 5 just a tiny bit. And like, I like the way it looked. So I'm looking forward to, I guess, actually going back to its like kind of former roots, especially San Andreas, because I never actually played San Andreas or Vice City when it was there, but I've heard so much about it. So this will be my opportunity to actually look
Wait, this
into
is gonna
it.
be your first time playing San Andreas?
It's gonna be my first time playing San Andreas, and Vice City, and
So
three.
you don't know where that oh shit, here we go again meme came from.
I know it came from there. Like I like,
Yeah, but you're the
obviously,
concept.
but I wasn't there for it. Basically, I wasn't there to see like it became. I wasn't there before it became a meme to see like where the spirit of the meme came from. When everybody's like, ah, and I'm just like, I get the meme. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah. And also, if you're an Xbox player like myself, then you get the San Andreas edition of the game for free. Or well, it's not really free. You have to have Xbox Game Pass, but basically you get to download it for free. You have Game Pass, so you get the San Andreas part of the trilogy. So that's
Hmm.
cool though, because San Andreas that's like the best game amongst the three. Now, even among the consensus, me personally, I love Vice City the
Okay.
most because Vice City like kind of reminds me of like Scarface the movie in a sense
Okay.
because it's like set in like 80s Miami.
Hmm.
But I must say though, but between the three games, seeing like the trailer, for some reason GTA 3 looks the best out of all of them,
Really?
and that's the oldest game. Yeah,
Hmm.
when you get a chance, like. Cause honestly, like I would play here, but I'm not trying to get on YouTube's bad side, get a copyright strike.
We
You know,
haven't gotten those authorities yet. We're
yeah,
working on it.
yeah, because yeah, they be petty sometimes, but shout out to you. Sponsored by YouTube. Sponsored by YouTube.
Sponsored by YouTube itself.
Yeah, hopefully in the future, cross the fingers. But yeah, but GTA 3 looks the best out of the three games, from my perspective.
Okay.
So definitely when you get a chance, go back and look at it. But we're gonna pivot a little bit in regards to gaming news, but we're still gonna focus in the area of gaming because there's some movies, although like about our last episode we talked about Resident Evil Raccoon City. That movie that's supposed to be coming out. But we
Mhm.
have news in regards to like another video game franchise that's coming to the big screen. And Sean, I believe you have some thoughts on it in regards to like Uncharted,
Mhm.
the Uncharted film. So tell us about that.
So just recently, they announced that they finally gave us the full trailer for the Uncharted series, in which it was revealed, if you didn't know already, that Tom Holland of MCU Spider-Man universe antics and stuff like that, he will be playing I was gonna say titular character, but he's not named in the game. But he's gonna be playing the main character Nathan Drake, with Mark Wahlberg playing his companion Sully. And obviously, not sure how a lot of people are going to feel about that, considering that Tom Holland is obviously younger looking than Nathan Drake is in the actual game. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that like a lot of people are going to want to
If
discuss
it
and get
if
into.
anything, Mark Wahlberg should be Nathan Drake.
True. True. I heard,
Yeah.
like, if I remember correctly, I think I want to say the Uncharted movie was in like that kind of developmental hell kind of thing, like where there was a bunch of back and forth, people were dropping left and right. I want to say even like directors dropped back and forth about it. Let me just check real quick. Uncharted movie
Wait,
news.
so his director dropped off the project?
Like I want to say like it's been one like the path to actually getting this movie done has been like a kind of a struggle, because I want to say
Oh, yeah,
like
that's not a good sign.
yeah, like I want to say like they had one director, and I want to say it dropped, and another director dropped. I want to say they finally ended up on the director that was the director for Guardians of the. No, it's not James Gunn, is it? I don't think it's James Gunn. Let's see.
If it's James Gunn, then I have hopes for it because he did a great job not only on Guardians but also on Suicide Squad, the reboot. So if he's a part of it, then although I'm kind of although we don't know for sure if James Gunn is a part of this project, but I don't know how he would necessarily fit in an Uncharted if he was, because it's like a totally different vibe.
Dan Trachtenberg, or no, Travis Knight. I think Travis Knight is who we settled on so far for the director.
I wanted this the same Travis Knight that used to play in the NBA.
Let's see. Let's actually, again, since like we said, this is the ghetto, the web show.
Yeah,
I'm now currently looking on Wikipedia. I'm letting you know that now. In the middle of
sponsored
this
by Wiki.
podcast. Because I
Like I
want to
said, man,
the news as
you,
accurately as possible.
listen, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all want the clean cut shit, go over to IGN, go over to Gaming Ranks. like, like I'm not saying we're unprofessional because we're not. Like we definitely we do research before we record. Like we make sure that we're good before we hit that record button. But and then we're regular human beings. Like we're regular gamers, man. Like like
Okay. They settled on Ruben. I don't want to butcher his name. Flashier, the one who directed
yeah,
Zombieland.
yeah. Why? So you said Ruben? The first name I thought was Ruben Studded.
It's directed by Ruben Studdard in his first directorial debut.
Yo, as soon as you said Ruben, I was like, oh shit, Ruben Studded.
Okay.
Shout out to Ruben Studded. I got a couple of your songs on my Spotify playlist. All right, now, Sean. He just dropped off. He just dropped off. Yeah. There's any white people that listen to this, they probably like, who the fuck is Ruben Studdard?
We are dating ourselves. We are showing our ages a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man, 2004. That was a good year. That was also the year that San Andreas came out. You see how it is we bring that back to gaming at the end?
Oh, okay. I got like one more, I guess, piece of information for this movie. This movie is apparently a prequel to the video game series. So it makes sense why
that could
Tom
explain
Holland
Tom Holland, young.
Yeah. Now it makes sense why they chose Tom Holland, I guess.
It also, I guess, smart in a sense because you're gonna, that's kind of ass backwards. Because normally you don't do a prequel series for the first movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, look at the Batman movie that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
We sat through like the original Batman movie trilogies in the late 80s, early 90s. Then the whole Batman Begins was Batman Begins an origin story?
Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins. Yeah, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, or whatever, are all three connected. Even though it doesn't seem like the Batman Begins should be in that line, which people keep forgetting.
Yeah, but with the Batman focused on Batman in like his second year as Batman.
Really?
Yeah, like he's like in his 20s for this film. That's why like Robert Pattinson like is Batman. Because obviously, like, no, we're because of people that look like 40 plus years old that plays Batman, but not like we're getting like a young Batman here. But look how long it took for us to get a movie like that in a sense, and that's kind of like it's not necessarily a prequel, but it's focused on Batman's early days before the Joker came into the picture and all that. And with the Transformers series, look how long it took us till we get a Bumblebee movie. It's kind of like like a prequel toward like the whole Transformers main series. Here we're getting an Uncharted movie, but instead of getting focused on like the main story, like Uncharted the first game, we're basically getting like a prequel series that basically has little to no video game fan service because you don't have to cater to like a particular story. You can just create your own story from scratch.
So it's like I guess it gives it the leg up, but like you said, it's kind of different to have the movie be what leads into the game. Like for you to go see, like you would have to now go see the movie. It would make more sense where you go see the movie and then you start playing the game series rather than you play the game series and then you go see the movie.
Yeah. Exactly. And I guess I can kind of explain why this dress really bothered me. But I can really sorry, this is the ghetto show. That can really sponsored by your corner bodega.
Get a chopped cheese at your
Yo, you remember I want to say 5% code on a chopped cheese.
go up to your local bodega and say Tuck Talk and see if they give you the percentage off.
You get 3% off if you say Tuck Talk, 5% off coupon code with the TGC 2021. And you get a free soda.
We about to get people out of one. Okay.
All right, but yeah, bringing it back to the discussion. All right, can't lose people. But if you from New York, you know about the chopped cheese. That's all I'm gonna say. But I don't eat that no more. I'm vegan. But sponsored hopefully by Beyond Meat in the future. But but getting back to the Uncharted movie, that could kind of explain, I guess, why Tom Holland's cast it. I feel like this story is kind of like a cop out to explain why
Mhm.
we're getting a young looking Nathan Drake. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want to attach one of the biggest stars in Hollywood right now. That's a part of like one of the most successful film properties in all of Hollywood and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and use that connection to this story.
Mhm.
You know, to this video game adaptation story that's a prequel. I guess it's like entice more people that's like Tom Holland fans more so than Uncharted fans to go and watch this movie. A movie that I think is gonna bomb. I'm just gonna be for real. I think it's gonna bomb. What do you think? I'm
I
not
mean,
hoping that it's gonna bomb, because obviously we was nothing but good karma, sponsored by good karma. But like the fact that it's issue with the directors you said, right?
mhm. It seems like
And,
yeah, they switched a few directors before they landed on Ruben.
yeah, that's never really a good sign. That's never a good sign for any film. You know, that's like basically again like three teachers in one semester. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, with different teaching styles.
yeah, like that's basically what this is right here. But
Like, I feel like it has potential. I'll say, okay, so story wise, the movie itself, if the movie itself bombs, it's definitely gonna be probably it's still gonna make box office money simply because of the names attached to it. Like Tom Holland, obviously, as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully, two big names in Hollywood still, so obviously people are gonna gravitate off of that power alone to see what the story is. So even if, you know, it's bad, it's gonna make the money simply because of who's in it.
yeah,
Also, if you're a Tom Holland fan, make sure you go see Venom Let There Be Carnage. No spoilers, but it seems that the MCU is getting a lot bigger. That's all I give you.
there you go. There you go. But that's not it, particular for movie news. Because like I said in the intro, I also want to talk about Dune. Even though Dune is not part of a video game franchise, anything like that, but here on the gaming chair, like like fuck it, like obviously, like we're down to co-hosts. We need time to fill content, so like fuck it, like you might as well talk about this movie, right? I'm just being transparent with you guys. Like we ain't really got that much, so might as well just talk about Dune. Like we talked about it, before we went on the air.
We
But
did start an entertainment podcast. Bear with us. You might get a little bit of it here.
yeah. Yeah, we're just testing the waters with the movie stuff to see like how if you guys like it, or not, like based on algorithm. But here's my thoughts on Doom because as I know, Sean, you did not see the movie yet,
Not yet.
but you have friends that saw the movie, right?
Hmm.
Now, before I give my thoughts on the film, did any of your friends basically like give you like any insight in regards to like what they think of the film? And if they did they make you want to watch the film even more, or did they made you like kind of like lose interest in potentially watching the film?
So I know, like so far, I know the interest was in to go see the movie in general. So I have that. Like there was already excitement about like Dune to back it up or whatever from like my friends' interest. But as of the detail of the movie itself, I'll say I didn't really get much. But like I guess I got for those of y'all listening to us on the I guess the West Coast, if you go see the movie in like I guess the immersive theaters that Regal has, like it's pretty. I guess it's a good thing to experience for once, since Regal is apparently giving all like innovating the way that we experiencing movies now. For example, there's like a out here in New York. If you go to the city, there's a 4DX kind of theater, which basically the chairs rock, they throw water at you and all the stuff like that. It's an interesting experience. So for those of
Yeah,
y'all on the west side, go check that
yeah.
out.
That's why as soon as you said Regal, I just There's so much things I want to say. Like I want to shit on them, but at the end of the day, I ain't trying to fuck up a bag.
And,
so, so yeah, go check it out at Regal Theaters, y'all. Like,
give us your opinion in the comments and see how
yeah,
that
yeah,
is. But otherwise,
just
yeah, it just seemed like Dune was gonna be like a interesting movie.
yeah. But my thoughts on Dune is as follows. I'm gonna start with the positives. It's a gorgeous looking film. Gorgeous looking film. Because I know like this is actually not the first Dune movie, by the way. There's a movie that came out back in 1984. I was negative 6 years old when that movie came out. Like it was 6 years before I was actually born.
Reverse.
I was negative 6 when that movie came out. So this movie is definitely obviously due to like upgrade in regards to like how movies are shot nowadays, new technology is definitely an upgrade over the original. But the thing is, the original movie covers more of the base of the story for the books
Mhm.
than what the 2021 version does.
Hmm.
But the 2021 version, I believe, sets up the possibility for this being like the next big time movie franchise. Kind of
Okay.
like how what Star Wars was, what the Star Trek Star Trek is more like a TV show than a movie. They did both, but um what other film projects can I compare to? Like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
Mhm.
I feel like it could be in that realm. And obviously, like there's enough book material out there to cover it.
Mhm.
But I'll say this about this movie. This was the best movie that I ever saw in the past 10 years that did not really cover shit. Basically, like you basically spent 2.5 hours watching a setup for a sequel, and you don't feel ripped off about it because it's such a great setup. And mind you, I watched this on HBO Max. Shout out to HBO Max. Please sponsor us in the future. You know, give us a coupon code that way we can get to these people along with a free chopped cheese. But
Have something to eat while you watch.
yeah, yeah. And a free soda and a bag of chips. Like, you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
The tuck package.
Right? You can't beat that. But this movie, it was clear that it was setting up for the next story. The main character of this movie is a kid. Main protagonist of the movie is a kid named Paul Atreides,
Uh-huh.
who's the son of the Duke, who's Duke Leto Atreides, and his mother is I think what they call them motherfuckers? Bene Gesserit. It's kind of
Mhm.
she could kind of like manipulate people through her voice.
Okay.
Kind of like similar to like Star Wars or like how you use like your force powers to manipulate people to do what you want. It's
Mhm.
kind of like that. But the Bene Gesserits, they could basically choose the sex of their children, right?
Hmm.
So the other Bene Gesserit, Bene Gesserits, they basically wanted Lady Jessica, who's the mother of Paul Atreides. But this is slight spoilers, like it's slight spoilers. But this should be on HBO Max for like about a week now. Like, oh wait, I just realized you ain't watched it. so,
You
so yeah,
got. You got.
yeah, yeah. I gotta chill. I gotta chill. But um, yeah. But basically, like the whole thing is giving birth to like um the messiahs, the messiah, so to speak, right? The person that's supposed to like be the end all of suffering, so to speak, right? That's who Paul Atreides is supposed to be. But the thing is, the Bene Gesserits are only supposed to produce um girls, and then basically marry them all to like a rich a family with power, and try to like bring like the people together through politics, so to speak.
Okay.
They like Jessica kind of went against that, and she basically trained her son in the Bene Gesserit ways. So Paul Atreides kind of he comes from like his father Leto, like he's the Duke. You know, they belong to like a famous house. Kind of it's kind of like a similar to, like Game of Thrones in that aspect, like with
Okay.
like certain houses, like politics, power and all that. So basically, he has that influence, and he also has his mother's influence when like she's kind of like come from like a world where they use like certain powers. And
Okay.
so Paul Atreides he gets visions, and one of the visions that he gets is of Zendaya's character, who basically I will say this about Zendaya's character. She plays Charlene, who's kind of like her and Paul. They were developed to have like a certain type of relationship as the series progresses, especially they get more movies. But he continues to have these visions about her. And mind you, most of Zendaya's screen time in this movie is through these visions that did not necessarily happen yet, so to speak. But the thing is with Paul is that some of his visions come true, and sometimes they don't come true.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be a very key focal point of the story. But if you read the books, you'll basically know how his story ends. Was it kind of like what I love about Dune in the sense now that I had the opportunity to dig deeper into this is the fact that okay, you see the setup for this character, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be like the main protagonist, but you know how his story ends.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, but before it ends, is he's gonna contribute to something that's gonna lead to something that's gonna be something that's so far greater than what he possibly ever could have been. So if that makes sense, without giving too much away.
Okay.
But they definitely set themselves up very well for future stories. But you really feel I'll say look at this movie as like an investment for like other potential Doom movies down the road. So that's the best way to look at it. But if it was me, like me knowing that since I have an HBO Max subscription that I pay like what I think $10 a month, $15 a month, something like that. However much it costs, like shit, I'll be losing track about what goes in and out of my accounts these days. Shout out to sponsored by Chase. But yeah, this is not a movie that I would necessarily see in theaters because, like I said, it's just a setup for like the next movie. But it's a worthwhile experience because like I said, even though not much happens in the movie, there's so much that does happen that leads up to like what's really gonna happen. So it's kind of this movie. Look at this movie as a like the water's starting to boil in a sense. Like it has not fully bubbled over yet, but like something is brewing. That's the best way to look at this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, this would kind of be like the equivalent of if, let's say, they didn't go the movie route. This would be like maybe the season one ish of something. Like
Yeah.
to get you introduced into the characters, the major players, and all stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
The best way I could like compare this movie, this is kind of like not so much of a good comparison in a sense. But have you ever saw The Godfather?
Yes, to
Okay.
some degree.
I would say look at this movie as like Godfather 1. Even though more happened in Godfather 1 that happened in this movie, but Godfather 1, the way the movie ended, basically, it kind of like sets it up for like, okay, like what to expect down the road, like
Mm.
with certain characters. This is kind of like what that movie is. You know, I would definitely watch it on HBO. Like I said, I'll definitely watch it on HBO Max. I would not necessarily watch it in theaters because, like I said, not much happens. Like, although there are something that happen, like characters die and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I guess that's kind of spoiler. But I didn't say who did die. If you ever watch,
It's not really a spoiler, considering it's a movie. Somebody gonna die.
yeah, like they gonna try to make you cry somehow. But characters do die. But at the end of the day, like their stories is just like it's not really even though it's kind of like it's essential like towards character progression for certain characters, but at the end of the day, there's not really they do not factor that much into like the story that's to come. But one of the stories that I'm looking forward to the most is Children of Doom. That's a book
Yeah.
series, but I feel like that's like movie number three. Like if they're going for like a trilogy, then that's like the third movie
We're looking at
because
like 2026.
I mean like shit. This thing is like Avatar. Then who knows? Because we're still waiting on Avatar too.
Bro.
You
Like
know,
what, 10
you
years?
know, yeah, you know, I haven't even seen Avatar one yet.
Really?
And that movie came out what 2008, I think.
All right, time to check the the data banks. Let's go see. Avatar came out 2009.
Oh, 2009.
You were close.
Yeah,
And the second one comes out next year.
so the first iPhone wasn't even out yet. When the movie came out.
Avatar was definitely one of our breaches into wow. Technology is evolving.
Yeah,
Look at these graphics.
and although this movie's like the cinema side not as like it's not like it to me it is wild, but it's not like Avatar wild, but it's like we see like the world that was set up in this movie and knowing like what's to come, like the crazy shit that's like Dune is a crazy ass story. But I could just imagine how this particular character is going to look with the how CGI is nowadays. I could just imagine how this dude is gonna look. And if you read the books and you know the story of Paul Atreides and his family, then you know exactly who I'm talking about. But it's gonna be a worthwhile wait. That's why, like, if I was to rate this movie, I'll give it like an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yeah, for the fact that okay, like it's one of those movies that you're gonna look back, especially when all the movies are done. You're gonna look back at this movie like, oh my god, like yeah, like this was really the kickoff point of something special.
Mm-hmm.
This is like that Star Wars A New Hope movie, and how that movie just kicked off like the Star Wars universe, and that shit is like still going and it's popular to this day. That's kind of like what this is, and it also is that the Better Jesuit series is supposed to be a spin-off TV series based off of this movie as well from
Really?
the HBO Max. Yeah,
Okay.
based off the mother of Paul Atreides and her origin stories, and the group of women that she comes from and their abilities. So
Okay.
yeah. So definitely check out Dune on HBO Max. Like I said, I will not watch this thing in theaters if I have HBO Max. But if you don't have HBO Max, then I will just get HBO Max. That way I can watch this movie. And this is not, and we're not really sponsored by HBO Max. We should be with the plug that I'm giving them right now. Like, but I would if I do have HBO Max, I would get HBO Max to watch this movie and then watch everything else that they have on HBO Max. Rather than going to theater to see the movie that's basically a clear setup for the next movie. If I was to like, if we're gonna wrap this up after I make this point, but I say look at this movie as like you're dating, like you're dating someone, right? You know, boy, girl, whatever case may be, you're dating someone, ladies and gentlemen, but you know that you're not gonna be with that person for the rest of your life. You're basically just a bridge to that person's next relationship. That's basically what this movie is. You're not gonna marry this movie. You're not gonna be committed to this movie. That's why I say go watch it on HBO Max. Please sponsor HBO Max. Like I'm really going hard for y'all for no reason. Y'all ain't giving us no money. But like, look at this movie basically as like, okay, like this is not gonna be my long term girlfriend, but this is gonna be a wonderful experience. But I know that something better is gonna come after this because this person gonna make me better for my next spouse, and I'm gonna make this person better for my next spouse. We're not meant to be. We're not meant to be, but we're just only like this movie is just only in your life just to get you ready for what's to come down the road. That's the best way to put it. And I know that shit sounded toxic as hell, but
Very interestingly put. Very interestingly put.
yeah. Yo, just imagine, right? Because I know like I know the shade where they post about this dude that by the way, this is around the part of the show where I'm done talking about gaming, so y'all want to like click off right now that y'all good. I don't blame well, I'm about to
You're
go
gonna
on the
see our
road.
true personalities. Get ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically like that's like why we like this post that was on the shade room about this guy talking about like how his girlfriend's crazy. They gonna spend the rest of his life with her because he just only well so like he can get the girl that he want. That's like what I sounded like just. Either I don't condone that. Like, don't waste
You didn't
nobody's
love me.
time.
You love the idea of me.
Yeah, like although I don't recommend doing that. Like, nah, like you gonna be with somebody. Like, don't waste their time. But this movie, that's kind of like what it is. Like, it's just getting you ready for something better. And you know better something better is coming down the road. Like you're not gonna be like this ain't gonna be your favorite movie out of all of them once the series is complete. So I use that example. Like this ain't gonna be the movie that you marry. This ain't gonna be your favorite out of all of them. But you're gonna appreciate this one because this one sets you up for what you've been missing all your life.
Interesting.
That's the best way my toxic ass could put it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wow, we really scratched 51 minutes out of shit. And we were just
You really did. Only like
yeah.
half of that was about fucking games.
Yeah. Basically. Basically. that's what it is at this point. But yeah, man, like and you made this far, then for one, I'm glad that you did. Two, that must mean that you really enjoyed this show. And if you did, then please hit that like button, hit that share button. And if you're new, you just come across us for the first time, then one, I'm gonna say that I'm glad to have you, but it's a shame that you did not see us as full scrim. Like I said, I got Isaiah. He's out there, in the state of Tennessee, making it do what it do. But he would be back, at the top. Oh, I missed the opportunity to say Ladale times two is making it do what it do. Because that's his name. Damn. Damn, I just missed the punchline. But all right, but like we normally are a 3-man booth. I got Isaiah. He'll be back in the first quarter of 2022. But for now, you have me. You have the Black Dawn himself, Sean. He's gonna always tell you what's going on and all that. Basically bring the balance to what we have here. So I'm just really looking out. But if you're new, please hit that subscribe button. Also, comment your thoughts. Like, let us know. Like, do you think, do you agree with our takes in regards to, Dune? If you saw the movie, what you think about the upcoming Uncharted movie? What games are you playing this week? What games are you looking forward to playing? Have you played Guardians of the Galaxy? Would you subscribe to our Twitch channel? And also,
we need to make a spinoff about us talking about like entertainment and stuff like that.
yeah, like we that's on that. Let us know. Like we'd love to get your thoughts, but we've reached a point in the show where it's about time for us to plug ourselves on the way out. So, Sean, I don't know where they can find you on social media, all that good stuff, bro.
So you can find me on most social media. That is Twitter, TikTok, though I haven't really been posting as much, and IG under Black Dawn. Usually I would be Black Dawn like that spell right there with the underscore or just Black Dawn itself. And if you want to play with me on, wow, wait, this flip camera thing. If you want to play with me on, PlayStation, you can find my PSN right there, which is Saint Pharaoh. And you can find me on, I want to say, whoop. Saint Pharaoh right there. And you can find me on I want to say my Nintendo Switch is also Saint Pharaoh. I tend to do the thing a lot where you can find me on all of my social medias under one name.
Yeah, it's always best. It's always best. And as for me, you can find me on IG at Ladale Fashionista, also the moderator on our True Urban Culture Instagram page. So you want to holler at me in regards to any potential sponsorships, because we sure like
If
to
you're
have them.
match.
That holler at me. If you want to talk about anything in regards to interviews, like you want to schedule interviews or assist with event coverages or what the case may be, holler at me. I'm the guy for that. And although he's not here, Please follow my guy Isaiah at Ladale times 2 LEDOX 2. I hope I did that right.
Yes. Yes, I
Hold on,
think.
let me go on his Instagram real quick and try to verify that. I can't be fucking up my guy's his shit. Uh
Also, if you got any talents that you think you can contribute and you want to join the team, hit them up.
oh yeah, that too. Thank you, Sean. See, because obviously I'll be forgetting stuff. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, it's LEDOO times 2. Because he does the number 2 times.
Mm,
That's where that came from.
douche deuce.
Yeah. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's wow, we really got to 55 minutes. And we only had like about what 25 minutes of material. We scratched that motherfucker. And by the way, don't forget to scratch, as my man Sean will always say. But man, ladies, and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this week's edition. Got some laughs with us and all that, especially your first time watching us. Then you can know what to expect. Like, if you want that raw, uncut, you come here. And you want that cookie cutter corporate shit, then you go to IGN. Shout out to IGN, shout out to GameSpot, Gaming Ranks, and all that. But we do things differently over here, as you can see. And we hope you enjoyed it, because we enjoy bringing it to you. And with that being said, Hail Hydra.